Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Hope you're having a nice day here today. We're taking a look at Action, one of the world's best Zergs here in the top right of Pantheon, and he's going up against one of the most active players in the world. It is Rich. Rich has been playing very, very well lately. I mean, he should. He grinds infinitely. He has the most accounts. He has the record for the most accounts of anyone on Battle.net. It's actually so absurd at this point. He has to have like a notebook full of his different email addresses and logins for all the different accounts he has, and then all the different accounts on those accounts. It's truly absurd. Like I honestly don't even understand it. You know how sometimes you just can't get inside the mind of someone? Normally it would be like someone who did something terrible. In this case, well, I mean, this is terrible in a way to make a million IDs, but I honestly can't relate. I don't know what's going on. But Rich is very, very strong right now. We saw some immaculate PVTs from him recently. So looking forward to seeing what his Protoss First Zerg is looking like. Action, you know, I've talked a little bit about how Action has been a very aggressive player more recently. And actually, someone pointed this out in the comments, and a big cheers to him. I forget the ID in the comments, but I was talking about how Action, like, basically, he went from being, like, the best late game Zerg. Like, he was literally, like, his hive level play was, like, kind of sulky-esque. He was so good at it. He was actually known as the best Defiler user. And then he kind of, like, evolved towards, like, 2-hatch Muta all-ins and stuff like that, and he just started all-inning a lot. And someone actually reminded me of this in those YouTube comments when I was talking in a Fighting Spirit game I casted maybe a week and a half ago or something like that. You could go back and find it. It's like a picture of Action crying next to a hatchery. So anyways, I talked about it there, but basically Action has attempted to retire multiple times. Like, it was actually kind of it's a meme within the Korean scene where, like, he actually is like, yes, I'm retiring. He made this big to-do of it, of where it's like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm done. You know, I don't want to do this anymore. Bye. Thanks for everything. That type of thing. And I talked about this when it happened, and this has happened, like, I've been an active part of the scene for, you know, 26 years, and I've seen this literally so many times. Every single time I've ever seen anyone make a big deal of retiring, every single time a strong player announces to everyone that they're retiring, they come back. Every single time. You have to if you quietly disappear, you don't come back. Or it's possible you come back, but it's like much less likely. And I would say the reason is when you announce it, it shows that StarCraft does mean a lot in your life because you feel like this is announcement worthy, right? If you pick up playing the guitar and then you stop at some point because you just diddled on it for a little bit, you don't tell everyone, I'm quitting playing the guitar, right? Think of it that way. Whereas if it's been your life and everything, you're like, well, this means a lot, but like, yeah, I'm quitting. So anyways, I know this is getting long-winded. So that's why people always come back in that situation. But the guy in the comments mentioned he might be playing the cheesy thing because this is how he makes money, is playing. And it's so much easier and less energy to do very aggressive plays like 2-hatch Muta. So like, maybe he's just not enjoying the game that much, but he needs to do it. He's an adult that spent basically his entire childhood and adolescence playing StarCraft, probably doesn't have other skills, and is kind of stuck, and so just plays like a different aggressive style because it doesn't take the type of effort and creativity and stuff that some of the later game Hive stuff that he used to do does. And by the way, Action was known as the hardest worker in StarCraft at one point, back in the old Kespa days. So anyways, I know that was 4.5 minutes of me trying to build this up, but I wanted to mention that. Maybe that's playing into it. I'm not a psychologist. I don't want to pretend that I know, but I thought that that was a really interesting take and could be part of why he's so aggressive nowadays. Now, that being said, not every game is super aggressive from him. In this game in particular, we don't see anything aggressive. He's just going layer into Spire. That's the #1 macro opener in this matchup. So, you know, I've kind of maybe overspoken it, and I know that there's going to be the dumb guy in the comments Artosis, you didn't even mention Nexus first. Guys, I showed it on the camera. You can see it for yourself. But anyways, we have a little bit of Zealot pressure coming in here from Rich. And, you know, he just blocks that. Really good micro there from Action. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about that whole spiel. Could that be a reason to play the more aggressive style? I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I like every aspect of StarCraft and thinking about these different things. And like a lot of the mental side of StarCraft is some of the most interesting stuff I find, personally. Okay, anyways, you can see a nice fan of Zerglings coming out and covering the map. He scouted kind of everything incoming. Corsair coming up from Rich to scout. Hydralisk Den is here. Spire is almost finished. He's going to get a full scout of this. Second gas is going up. It's always really hard to tell if they're actually going to go mutas or not. Evolution Chamber just got started over here as well. Looking at Rich's base, he has those Zealot legs on the way. He has +1 on the way, so definitely looks like he wants to put some Zealot pressure on. Photon Cannon in the main mineral line, just in case, against incoming Mutalisks. Oh, God. Okay, that was actually 2 very good jukes right there. Those were actually, that was kind of funny. It looked weird because he didn't actually, it didn't look like he was going to gain distance with those jukes, but sometimes those are the type of jukes that you want. So if you just like Scourge are slightly faster, so they'll eventually catch, so you have to do some jukes. But if they're just right-clicked on the Corsair, you can juke them very, very well. Scourge are kind of stupid at turning. So, like, if you do sharp turns, it can do well. And because of that, Zerg players click them a lot on move commands. So if you are unpredictable with your jukes, even though the juke might not technically be better, if they are actively clicking the Scourge, the unpredictable, unoptimal juke is more likely to gain distance from the clicking Zerg player. Whereas if you know that they just have the right click, you can do jukes that are like guaranteed to get you further away, if that makes sense. So that was an interesting juke, in my opinion. The way that he went like completely to the side when the Scourge was like right there. Okay. Now, a lot of Hydras coming down. The Speed Zealots come out and meet them midway on the map. This is going to give him time to add cannons. Does he have enough time to build enough cannons here? There's actually quite a few Hydras being made, but still some drones as well. So Rich rotates back. Dark Templar is out, so actually with no Overlord... Oh, speed is done, so the Overlord is coming. He might be able to pick off a bunch of Lings here. This could be very, very nice. Oh, no, he just kind of checks if it's coming. DT comes up. Gonna swipe some of these Hydras. But yeah, the Overlord's almost here, so he's got to be careful not to lose that. Oh, he's gonna lose it. That's unfortunate for Rich. He is really going minimal on the cannons, by the way. I feel like a lot of Protoss players here would have added a couple more over that, where it's like, oh, damn, he might be actually just coming across the map with these. With like non-stop Hydra, but it's not. It's not. And there was no Corsair here to really check that, but there was a very good read there by Rich that he didn't need that many. In fact, look at that. He canceled number 4. Robo on the way. A couple more gates as well. So we're going up to 8 gates. So pretty standard stuff. Dragoon range is started. Looks like a very solid game. He's got 12 Speed Zealots with Dragoon range started already. He's got 3 High Templars out, so he is going to want another one. But notice his Dragoon production. So you can see that Rich is playing... I consider this a more modern style. It's closer to how Rain plays. A lot of the older styles would make, like, instead of 12 Zealots, like 24 Zealots. And just kind of rotate around the map a whole lot and look for errors in Zerg's play. Whereas this is like, okay, we do some scouting, we do some pressure and everything, but it's not really as reliant on the Zealots, and you're getting into Dragoon production a lot faster. I really think that style, which I attribute to Rain, like I don't study PvZ as much as the other matchups, obviously, but Rain is really the first person I saw doing that at the pro level consistently. And I think it gives you such a stronger mid game. and still does most of the same stuff. Whereas the people that are constantly making zealots and running them around and losing them and, you know, trying to force damage, you can't, as people get better, it gets harder and harder to force damage. What you want to do is force errors. You want to force them to make a mistake in the way that they are managing what you're doing, as opposed to you going in and causing damage. Because, yeah, sometimes you can go in and cause damage, but if you can run around with the zealots and they over-defend, it's harder to read that, but that's more likely than you running in with the zealots and getting the damage you're looking for. Because if you actually run in with the zealots... Oh, wow, those are all glitching. If you actually run in with the zealots, they can either have exactly enough and defend it, which is perfect for them, or they can have too much and defend it super well, which is still good for them. Whereas if you make like just enough to make them defend, they can either have exactly enough to defend it and then you run away, and that's good on both sides, slightly better for Zerg, or they can overmake and then you're ahead. And that's, I feel like, more likely. Okay, little bit of a little two ships passing in the night moment. Rich sending up his units towards this natural. Action looking like he's going to do a counterattack, but the Nexus actually wasn't really going. If like the Nexus was finished here, I'd feel like this was a great move. Instead, Action rotating through the center of the map. And Rich trying to break through right now. Corsair's actually helping out a little bit against incoming Scourge that probably want to snipe this Observer. Yeah. Oh, just barely gets that out of there. And Rich is starting to break through a bit. You can see this group of units stopping anything coming across the map to reinforce. Wow, very good Psy Storms upon these Lurkers. Very, very good indeed. Still has that Observer, really, really crucial. If he had lost this Observer, this attack would already be over. Now, that being said, here comes the flank of Action's units, and it does seem as if Rich has overstayed his welcome here. A flank of Rich's units come up with a Psy Storm included, but Rich is losing his entire army. He doesn't have a third base up. He's lost that massive amount of Dragoons and almost every High Templar that he's made so far this game, whereas Action retains a decent amount of troops and has the fourth base. Rich is going to GG there. So I want to just jump back for a moment, because I like I mentioned, I like the style that Rich has utilized here. I like the quicker Dragoon that allows you to put on pressure. But generally speaking, you have to be very careful. It's a more decision-heavy style. Like, you're going to have to make a lot of strong decisions about engagements with this type, because you have this very strong army, but you have to be really careful with anything with a lot of Dragoons. Okay, Dragoons must survive. So look at this, okay? As your Psy Storms and Zealots start to wane, you actually need to pull back. It's really important. Like, you can, against these Lurker defenses, throw your Storms down, like, super efficient, super efficient, super efficient. Now, let's take a look. Okay, Zealots still have good health. Dragoons, good. Where's the High Templars? We're out of Storms. So you actually have to start looking at this and saying, okay, can this army... Because you know that Action has an army in the center. Like, he's gotten some good Storms, everything. Okay. Can this army kill all of this, everything that's in the center, and everything that's about to pop out of hatcheries? Well, the answer is obviously every single time going to be no. So it's like, it's better if you take this army, you get a few of the good Storms, and then you back up. You want to shark around with the Protoss army. When you do an engaged attack like this and you get flanked, you're going to lose your entire army like every single time. And he doesn't have a backup to this. You must keep this army alive. PvZ is a lot like Terran versus Protoss in that way. Where it's like, yeah, I mean, if you do this full attack and they come in and kill all your siege tanks, in this case, siege tanks are Dragoon, High Templar, you're going to lose. They can't just remake Vultures and go kill you. Just like this. You can't just remake Zealots and go kill you, and that's why Rich GG'd. So this was, he overstayed here for sure. Why are we still fighting? Why are we still fighting here? Are you going to kill everything that comes out of every hatchery and the units that were in the center? Of course not. So this is a situation where it's like the initial attack is very good, but then you got to back up. Snow mentioned this as well in some of the content he's made, where Really, you should kind of walk up, use your Psy Storms, and walk away, and just do that repeatedly. You want to shave things down over time. Psy Storm is the best spell in the game. Let it do its job. Don't lose your high-value units, and you're going to have a better time. Anyways, I guess kind of a rambling cast here, but there you go. That's what it is. Let me know what you think, guys, about some of the stuff I was talking about earlier on, and we will see you next time. GG.